If you know a bit about paleontology, you've perhaps heard of the cave bear, or perhaps the cave lion, or the cave hyena. Well, it turns out there are probably more cave creatures that you don't know about. So I'm going to go through all 8 of the cave creatures that are regularly called cave creatures, with the exception of the caveman. From least to most dangerous, here we go. Starting off with the cave goat. As implied in the name, this is probably the least dangerous. Its scientific name is Myotragus, and it may not have been very dangerous, but boy, it was cold-blooded. Literally, it's the only known cold-blooded mammal to ever exist. They used their cold-bloodedness to power down and conserve energy when food was scarce, much like crocodiles do. Myotragus lived from 5.3 million years ago to 4,300 years ago on the islands of Mallorca and Menorca. It had forward-facing eyes, unlike modern goats, which gave it binocular vision. This was likely due to an absence of predators on these islands. The cave goat experienced island dwarfism as it was only 50 centimeters or 18 inches tall at the shoulder. It took 12 years for it to reach sexual maturity, unlike modern goats as it takes them less than 1 year. The cave goat went extinct due to human arrival on these islands, and does belong on the least deadly part of this list, but still a very, very weird and cute animal. Next up is the cave fossa, also known as the giant fossa, or Cryptoprocta spalia. And I know a lot of people pronounce it fossa, I'm more of a fossa guy. Including the tail, modern fossas grow up to 5 feet or 140 centimeters long. The cave fossa grew up to 7 feet or about 2 meters long. It took down larger prey than its modern counterpart, like the Paleopropithecus. It also had very large jaws and teeth. It lived in Madagascar all throughout the Holocene epoch, which started around 11,000 years ago. It went extinct rather recently, around 1658. Next up is the famous cave bear, also known as Ursus spalius. It was a giant bear that lived all over Eurasia during the Pleistocene epoch. It was comparable to or larger than modern Kodiak bears. Males weighed up to 1,320 pounds or 600 kilograms and grew up to 11.5 feet or 3.5 meters tall when standing upright. Females were significantly smaller though. It had a domed skull with a steep forehead along with long thighs and massive shins. It went extinct 24,000 years ago due to climate change and competition with early humans. Why isn't it higher on this list? Simple, it was an herbivore. We don't exactly know if it was totally peaceful like modern pandas. However, some studies show that they may have been omnivores. And you know what bears today are omnivores? Grizzly bears, black bears, sloth bears, all of which are pretty dangerous. If you ever hypothetically encounter a cave bear, just don't threaten it and you'll probably be fine. Probably. Next up is the cave wolf, also known as Canis lupus spalius. It's an extinct subspecies of gray wolf and was around the size of a modern gray wolf, but more robust and a tad bit more tall. They also had a stronger bite. These guys, like modern wolves, were opportunistic hunters, eating live and dead prey. In fact, they likely ate cave bears while the bears were still in hibernation. That's kinda diabolical. They hunted in packs like their modern close relatives, and like cave bears, cave wolves lived in Eurasia during the Pleistocene and likely went extinct for the same reason. Next up is the cave leopard, also known as Panthera pardus spalia. It was a subspecies of leopard from Europe around 24,000 years ago. Yep, that's in the same place as the past few cave animals I've talked about. They were smarter predators, using caves as a hiding spot from larger predators, and a way to ambush prey like ibex. I certainly wouldn't want to be an ibex in that situation. It was similar in size to the largest modern jaguars, which grew up to 100 kilograms or 220 pounds. Or more. And yes, it went extinct for the same reasons as the bear and the wolf. Oh, and we found a cave painting depicting their pattern, which is similar to that of a modern leopard. Next up is the cave jaguar, aka Panthera onca augusta. Well, I bet you can guess where this one lived. Yep, that's right, the eastern US. Oh, you were expecting Eurasia like the last 3? Sorry, no. It was up to 20% bigger than modern jaguars, with longer limbs, more prominent teeth, and larger feet. This made it roughly the size of a modern African lion. Like modern jaguars, it had a strong bite to take down prey like ground sloths, peccaries, and deer. It inhabited caves for shelter and to raise young, which we know from tracks found in caves. It went extinct around 11,000 years ago due to the loss of its prey. Next on the list is the cave hyena, also known as Crocuta spalia. It was an extinct species of hyena that lived at the same time and place as the cave bears, wolves, and leopards, and went extinct for the same reasons. And these things may not have been the most dangerous, but they sure were the most terrifying. Like modern hyenas, they hunted in groups called clans. They weighed up to 129 kilograms or 285 pounds, making them much larger than modern spotted hyenas. Along with that, they were more robust. They were active predators, but also scavengers, with a body adapted for dragging carcasses around. We have fossil evidence that these things ate Neanderthals, with bite marks on their bones from cave hyenas. I don't know about you, but I would not want to see that in a cave. And last but not least, the most dangerous cave creature, the cave lion, also known as Panthera spalia. This thing lived at the same time and place as the cave hyena and went extinct for the same reason. It was a huge lion weighing up to 663 kilograms, or 800 pounds, and growing up to 11.5 feet or 3.5 meters long, and 1.5 meters or 5 feet tall at the shoulder. Cave paintings from France suggest that they didn't have manes, unlike modern African lions, and had very thick fur as an adaptation to the extreme cold. It's debated whether they lived in large social groups or were solo hunters, but they would be deadly either way. Despite their name, they seldom hung out in caves unless it was for temporary shelter. They instead hunted in open grasslands and woodlands. They hunted reindeer, bison, horses, young mammoths, and young woolly rhinos. They would come in caves if it meant there was a hibernating cave bear that would make a great meal, or even the cave bear's cubs, and other cave animals, presumably. So yeah, you don't want to be anywhere with a cave lion. Anyways, that was every cave animal, all 8 of them, and that took an astonishing 6 minutes. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment what other long-form video ideas you have for me. Oh no, the cave hyenas, they're back. I gotta go.